After killing the monster, Ye Tian used his blade to pierce the monster's body and began to drain its blood. While looking at the monster's corpses, Ye Tian realized that no talent will matter once one is dead. After taking a substantial amount of blood, Ye Tian decided to cut the monster's skin and testicles. Ye Tian was willing to cut off any part of the ox that is valuable. Ye Tian first cut off the ox's horns because they were the most valuable parts of the monster. After dissecting the monster, Ye Tian filled his bag with the byproducts. He decided to find a place to cultivate with his current materials. After traveling for a while, Ye Tian arrived at a cave. He settled in the cave and brought out his materials. He brought some monster blood and peanuts made by his sister. With a smile on his face, Ye Tian said that he will be able to enter the martial warrior realm with his current materials. Ye Tian drank some blood and immediately ate some peanuts to wash down the horrible taste of the blood. After drinking the blood, Ye Tian sat in a lotus position and began to cultivate. 20 days later, we see that Ye Tian has drank a lot of monster blood. Ye Tian let out a huge sigh and opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, it began to glow. As a large amount of energy gathered around his body, Ye Tian began to scream. The energy which gathered above the cave was quite large and bright. Two girls passing the area saw the bright light. A blonde girl who appears to be a servant tells her young miss that someone is trying to enter the martial warrior realm. The young miss smiles when she saw the light. We see that the two girls are wearing a hoodie that has a logo of the martial pavilion on it. After experiencing pain for some time, Ye Tian entered the martial warrior realm. Ye Tian was quite impressed to see his new power. After becoming a martial warrior, Ye Tian looked around him and saw the empty bottles that used to contain the ox's blood. He realized that he could now use his copy talent. He picked up his bag and began to run. Ye Tian wanted to copy the ox's defense talent. When he arrived at the place which he defeated the ox, he saw the monster's bones. Ye Tian placed his hands on the bones and tried to copy the monster's talent. Unfortunately for Ye Tian, a status window appeared in front of him and told him that he could not copy the talent of his target. Ye Tian was surprised to see this. He realized that his ability does not work on things that have become bones. Ye Tian was sad to see this. He regretted cutting the monster's body into so many pieces. While Ye Tian was staring at the monster, the two girls looked at him from afar. The blonde girl asked her young lady if Ye Tian was the one who killed the ox. The young lady told her assistant that Ye Tian just became a martial warrior. She told her assistant that the monster was killed before Ye Tian became a martial warrior. The assistant believed that what her young lady said was right. She assumed that Ye Tian could not kill the monster because he was a martial apprentice when the monster was still alive. The assistant told her young lady that Ye Tian is quite bold to enter such a dangerous area while he was still a martial apprentice. Ye Tian walked up to an oasis which was in the area. He took off his clothes and prepared to take a bath. It had been 20 days since Ye Tian last took a bath. He was happy to take a bath. The two girls were shocked to see Ye Tian in his underwear. They decided to leave the area. After the girls left, Ye Tian jumped into the water. The scene shifts and we are taken to the martial market of the Linhai base. At the market, we see several people trading with each other. Among the countless stores in the market, one store stood out as the largest. Ye Tian decided to go into this store. This store is the martial pavilion. As Ye Tian headed into the martial pavilion, he passed by the young lady and her assistant. The assistant quickly recognized Ye Tian. When Ye Tian passed by their side, he noticed something odd. Ye Tian turned around and saw a lady that had a striking resemblance to his sister. Ye Tian could not believe what he was seeing. He called the young lady his sister. The young lady was surprised to hear this. She could not believe that Ye Tian called her his sister. Ye Tian quickly regained his composure. He was certain that Ye could never come to the martial market. Ye Tian decided to look at the girl's status window. Ye Tian was surprised to see what was on the status window. He became more certain that this girl was not his sister because the girl was a genius. According to the status window, the girl's name is Yuling. Her cultivation talent is high tier. Her sword talent is mid tier and her speed talent is low tier. Yuling's assistant was annoyed to hear Ye Tian call her master his sister. She told Ye Tian that he is quite courageous for a scrounger. Ye Tian was shocked to hear this. He tried to smell his body to see if he had an odor. Ye Tian did not understand why the girl would refer to him as a scrounger. Yuling asked her assistant, whose name is Xiaoyu, to not speak carelessly. Xiaoyu realized that she almost slipped up to Ye Tian. She realized that Ye Tian might find out that they saw him earlier. Yuling gave Xiaoyu some instructions and asked her to follow them. Immediately Yuling gave her the instructions. Xiaoyu walked up to Ye Tian and bowed her head. She apologized to Ye Tian. She told Ye Tian that her master has disciplined her for her rude behavior. Ye Tian was surprised to hear that Yu Ling is a young lady. Yu Ling left Ye Tian and Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu grabbed Ye Tian's hand and told him that Yu Ling has some things to attend to. Xiaoyu realized that Ye Tian wanted to sell his materials to the Martial Pavilion. She told Ye Tian that her young lady is the manager of the Martial Pavilion. She told Ye Tian that she will pay him double the price of his products in order to express their sincerity. Ye Tian was shocked to hear this. Two girls came out of the store and took Ye Tian's materials. When Ye Tian stepped into the store, he was surprised to see how big it was. Ye Tian was surprised to see what was inside the store. When Ye Tian sat down, a woman comes to serve him tea. She called Ye Tian an esteemed martial warrior and asked him to enjoy his tea. Xiaoyu calculated the price of the materials which Ye Tian brought and told him that everything he has is worth 20,000 yuan. She told Ye Tian that she will pay him 40,000 yuan. Ye Tian spat out his tea when he heard the amount. Ye Tian accepted the deal. He could not believe that he made so much money so easily. Xiaoyu gave Ye Tian 4 white cards. Each of the card was worth 10,000 yuan. Ye Tian realized that his sister would be very happy if she saw the money he earned. Xiaoyu brought out a book and told Ye Tian that he is allowed to purchase anything he wants at 50% off. She told Ye Tian that he was given this privilege by their young lady. Ye Tian smiled when he heard this. He told Xiaoyu that he will enjoy the privilege. When Ye Tian looked at the price of the products in a book, he was extremely shocked. Everything in the store was quite expensive. Ye Tian finally understood why the major families have a monopoly on cultivation materials. Ye Tian knew that an ordinary civilian would not be able to afford such materials. After looking through the price list, Ye Tian asked Xiaoyu to give him 1 profound training manual, 1 monster directory, 3 bottles of mid-tier monster blood, and 3 bottles of restorative elixirs. After Ye Tian told her what he wanted, Xiaoyu went to a shelf and prepared what Ye Tian asked. After packing what Ye Tian ordered, Xiaoyu told Ye Tian that he will pay her 70,000 yuan. Ye Tian took out his gold card and used it to pay for his goods. Ye Tian was convinced that he made a smart choice by stealing from Li Siyuan. After Ye Tian paid for his goods, he picked up his box. Ye Tian was certain that the Martial Pavilion was not giving him so many benefits just because Xiaoyu called him a scrounger. Ye Tian was certain that the Martial Pavilion had another reason for their actions. He could not understand why the Martial Pavilion was treating him nicely. Ye Tian knew that he was a simple poor guy, so he did not understand what the Martial Pavilion wanted from him. While walking out of the store, Ye Tian was surprised to see that no one was stopping him. Ye Tian decided to leave. When Ye Tian got to the door, Xiaoyu asked him to wait. Ye Tian was not surprised to hear this. He already knew that things were not so simple. Ye Tian turned around and glared at Xiaoyu. He asked Xiaoyu to tell him why she stopped him. Xiaoyu pointed at the stairs and told Ye Tian that the manager of the pavilion wants to meet him. Ye Tian smiled when he heard this. He asked Xiaoyu to show him where he needs to go. When Ye Tian arrived at the manager's office, he saw her drinking tea. Yu Ling welcomed Ye Tian to her office. Ye Tian was still quite surprised to see Yu Ling. He could not believe that Yu Ling looked so much like Ye Yu. Yu Ling walked up to Ye Tian and introduced herself. Yu Ling is a peak elite martial warrior who is from the Manhwa base. She is the current manager of the Martial Pavilion branch in the Linhai base. Yu Ling stretched her hand out and tried to shake Ye Tian. When Ye Tian shakes Yu Ling's hand, a small amount of energy was released from both their hands. When Ye Tian shook Yu Ling's hand, the system told Ye Tian that he has successfully copied a high-tier cultivation talent. Ye Tian also introduced himself to Yu Ling. Yu Ling asked Ye Tian to take a seat. She told him that only valued guests get to come to the second floor of the pavilion. Ye Tian was not impressed with what Yu Ling said. He told her that he is a commoner who does not have any relations to the major families. He asked Yu Ling to tell him why he is a valued customer. Yu Ling told Ye Tian that his value lies in the fact that he is a commoner and he is unrelated to the major families. Ye Tian was surprised to hear this. He was surprised to see how calm Yu Ling was. Ye Tian remembered how cheerful and happy his sister always acts. Xiaoyu served Ye Tian some tea. Yu Ling told Ye Tian that her reason for inviting him was to extend an invitation. Immediately Yu Ling said this, she brought out a cross which had the sign of the Martial Pavilion on it. She asked Ye Tian to join the Martial Pavilion. Ye Tian was shocked to hear this. When Yu Ling gave Ye Tian the offer, Ye Tian saw his sister asking him to join the Martial Pavilion. Ye Tian could not get over Yu Ling's face. He realized that he had never said no to his sister before. Ye Tian told Yu Ling that he does not understand her. Ye Tian knew that Manhwa base was an extensive base. In other words, the base has boundless powers. Ye Tian told Yuling that Ma Hai base does not lack any talents. He told Yuling that he is simply a novice martial warrior. Ye Tian could not understand why Yuling would try her best to recruit a novice martial warrior. Yuling stood up and told Ye Tian that extensive base comes into existence because they always need more talents. Ye Tian was shocked to hear what Yuling said. He never expected such a small girl to be so smart. Ye Tian realized that Yuling was looking at a bigger picture. Ye Tian became more certain that Yuling was not his sister because his sister is not smart enough to say something like this. Xiaoyu told Ye Tian to stop hesitating. She asked Ye Tian to accept the offer. She told Ye Tian that elite disciples from powerful families can't join their company because they do not reach Yuling's standards. Ye Tian knew that he had a good opportunity before him, but he also knew that joining any organization would limit his actions. He believed that he would die in horrible death if people ever found out about his special ability. Ye Tian decided to stay independent until he could sort out any issue related to his special ability. Yuling moved close to Ye Tian. She was surprised to see that Ye Tian was actually hesitating. She became more curious about Ye Tian. She asked him to tell her why he is hesitating. Ye Tian felt odd saying no to someone who looks exactly like his sister. Yuling begged Ye Tian to tell her his reason. Ye Tian decided to use the rumors about the Iron Fang base as example. He told Yuling that the rumors about the Iron Fang's invasion caused a lot of unrest among the powerful families. He told Yuling that he was able to regain his peaceful life thanks to the rumors. Ye Tian revealed to Yuling that he does not want to become someone like the powerful families, and he does not want to serve such families. Yuling was shocked to hear this. She asked Ye Tian if she looked similar to the powerful families. Ye Tian told her that she does. Yuling decided to change her strategy. She told Ye Tian that he can observe her organization for a while. She told Ye Tian that he does not need to respond to her immediately. She told him that she has enough patience. Ye Tian was surprised to hear this. He could not comprehend why Yuling was so adamant about recruiting him. After Ye Tian left the store, he decided to leave the market. On his way out, Ye Tian contemplates about what it means to be a martial warrior. While looking at his hand, Ye Tian asked himself about what talent means to him. Ye Tian wondered if the current martial warriors still remember the founding mission of martial warriors. Ye Tian believed that martial warriors exist to protect the people. While walking, Ye Tian sees some kids playing football. The kids hit their ball towards the gatekeepers in the area. The kids asked the gatekeepers to pass their ball. A man used his leg to crush the kid's ball. Ye Tian did not understand why people had to tolerate oppression from martial warriors even though they already had to live in fear of monsters. The kids cried when they saw what happened to their ball. The two gatekeepers smiled when they saw the look on the kid's face. On his way home, we see Ye Tian standing on top of a building. While looking at the heavy rain, Ye Tian said that his standing is not high enough. Ye Tian believed that he must become stronger and reach higher levels. Ye Tian's system appeared before him and asked him if he wants to fuse his high-tier cultivation talent. Ye Tian decided to fuse the talent. The scene shifts and we see Ye Tian step into his house. Yi was shocked to see her brother. She quickly ran into his arms. After letting go of her brother, Yi noticed that Ye Tian had become tougher. Ye Tian took off his hoodie and told his sister that he has become a martial warrior. Yi was shocked to hear this. She was very happy to hear that the Yi family finally had a martial warrior among them. Yi was very happy to hear this. Ye Tian believed that his sister was dramatic. He knew that Yi could also become a powerful martial warrior once she awakens. Ye Tian planned to continue increasing his sister's talent with more compatible items. After calming down, Yi brought out a scissors and told her brother that she wants to give him a haircut. Ye Tian was surprised to hear this. Yi told her brother that he looks like a beggar. Yi told Ye Tian that he needs to take care of himself now that he is a martial warrior. Yi sat her brother down and put a cloth around him. Ye Tian told his sister to give him his usual haircut. Yi smiled when she heard this. She told her brother that she only knows how to cut one style. As his sister cut his hair, Ye Tian realized that he had become older. Yi had been cutting Ye Tian's hair ever since their parents died. Ye Tian recalled how he and his sister were when they were younger. Yi told her brother that she is scared. She asked her brother to go to the hospital. Yi accidentally injured her brother at the back of his head. Ye Tian told his sister that he cannot go to a hospital because hospitals cost a lot of money. Ye Tian, who appears to have been beaten up, told his sister that he will be fine. He asked his sister to help him cut his hair short and dress his wound. Yi was sad to see her brother in such a terrible state. She told her brother that he would have been fine if he had the ability of the immortal jellyfish. Ye Tian was surprised to hear this. He asked his sister to tell him the ability of the immortal jellyfish. Yi was surprised to see that her brother did not remember the immortal jellyfish. She told Ye Tian that the jellyfish is in the story that he used to read to her. Yi told her brother that the immortal jellyfish has the ability to heal. She told Ye Tian that the immortal jellyfish can heal any of its wounds instantly. Ye Tian was surprised to hear that his sister still believed in such things. He told his sister that he does not believe in things like that. Yi was annoyed to hear this. She told her brother that the immortal jellyfish actually exists. Ye Tian pat his sister's head and told her that he understands. Ye Tian knew that his sister was just worried about him. He told his sister that he might awaken a healing talent and never get injured. With a smile on his face, Ye Tian told his sister that he will protect her once he awakens his talent. The scene shifts and we are taken back to the present. Ye Tian moved his body the moment he remembered the immortal jellyfish. Yu asked her brother to be careful. She asked him to not move carelessly. She told him that he will mess up his haircut. Ye Tian stood up and ran. Yu did not understand what was going on. She asked her brother to tell her what happened. Ye Tian quickly took out the illustrated book of treasures which he bought. Ye Tian began to search the book for the immortal jellyfish. After searching for a while, Ye Tian found the immortal jellyfish. The immortal jellyfish is a water-type monster with a healing talent. It stays in the lake of death. Yu asked her brother to tell her why he was running. Ye Tian was happy to see that the monster exists. He realized that he would not have to worry about injuries once he has copied this talent, and Yi would no longer need to worry about him. Yi was surprised to see what her brother was searching for. She told her brother that the immortal jellyfish is a made-up monster used in stories. Ye Tian closed the book and told his sister that the story is real. Yi told her brother that she needs to finish cutting his hair. After Ye Tian had his haircut, he began to read a book in order to see which body training style would fit a martial warrior. Novice martial warriors like Ye Tian focus on fortifying their skin. Mid-stage martial warriors fortify their muscles, and late-stage martial warriors fortify their bones. Ye Tian decided to start cultivating. Immediately, Ye Tian began to cultivate. He noticed a change. Ye Tian could not believe how fast his cultivation was going. He realized that his cultivation was slow in the past. He decided to consume a bottle of mid-tier monster blood in order to see how it would affect his cultivation. When Ye Tian drank the blood, his absorption rate increased by threefold. Ye Tian was quite shocked to see this. Ye Tian realized that it would be smart for him to continue cultivating at home. He decided to go after the immortal jellyfish once his copy talent becomes available in the next 30 days. With a smile on his face, Ye Tian said that he will get the healing talent he wants. Guys, we have come to the end of our video. If you guys want part 5 of this video, let me know in the comments section. Don't forget to like and smash that subscribe button for more recaps. See you guys later.